welcome back to Star Wars Minute. It's the daily podcast where we analyze, scrutinize, and celebrate the Star Wars movies 1 minute at a time. I'm Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.com.
I'm Alex Robinson from AlexRobinson.fun.
I'm Tony Thaxton from BizarreAlbums.com. Also a podcast.
And also, I'm glad you said that after, so it didn't become a, Bizarre Albums and also the podcast.com. Oh, shoot, now I did it.
Yes, I got you.
Uh-oh.
Well, thanks for coming back, Tony.
Thank you for having me.
We are here today to talk about minute 82 of Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. 82 starts with Luke starting a fire with his little torch, and then Yoda really starting a fire. Yoda's like, that's not a fire, this is a fire.
I don't know. I don't judge a fire by its size.
Well, we didn't start the fire. Yoda did. That's the trying to mix. Can I mix somehow Weird Al into that? Can I mix Yoda into? No. I love Star Wars. I love Weird Al. I don't think I want another Weird Al Star Wars song.
I was just going to ask why he hasn't done another one.
That is kind of surprising.
Given the mania for Star Wars now and Disney and everything, it seems.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that
Well, he's never been one to chase trends that way, so I'll give him a.
You know, he did have it does feel like an incomplete trilogy. Maybe there should have been one for the Disney movies.
Maybe he learned his lesson and said it's better to leave people wanting more than it is to present something and everyone being like, no, that one sucked.
I think everybody loves what's it called though? Or you mean you learned his lesson from Disney itself?
From or George Lucas too, for that matter. If if the prequels hadn't been done, we'd all be like, oh, those would have been great. I'm trying to think of I don't know any current pop songs to turn them into Star Wars.
I know. That's my problem also.
Well, that he didn't do a current pop song to go back. He had to be like, all right, it had to be a
classic
kind
rock
of a classic
song.
rock monumental thing that is woven into the fabric of reality.
For both of his Star Wars songs.
I think he should do "Bad Out of Paradise by the Dashboard Lights."
And what would that be changed to?
We're just going to sit here and wait until you come up with the whole song.
Let me think about it. I'll report back to you tomorrow.
I'm trying to think of another song of that caliber.
Wait, it could be a pair of dice.
Oh.
Returning to...
there you go.
By the Falcon Lights.
By Dash Rendar's Lights.
Yes, there we go. We've got
like
this.
Swearing an oath.
I know
Dash
people
Rendar's
who
Lights.
know people.
Maybe it's better to go the other way and think of like a name, something you want to base it off of, and then do it that way.
Well, what about like something with Rey?
Are you guys trying to say pair of dice isn't good?
What about one of his most popular songs is
Paradise by the Dashboard Lightsaber.
Oh, there you go.
See, this is gold.
Yeah. We're Weird Al.
Hope you're listening, Al.
Speaking of Weird Al, YODA Yoda.
Yeah.
This is the unexpected. Well, for me, it was unexpected.
I had
the
an
return
inkling
of Yoda.
I actually, before seeing this movie, I wonder if I actually have this still. I should try and find this in my phone. It's a possibility I still have this in my notes. Before I went to see this movie, I think this is the only of the new movies I did this with. I made a list of predictions, and I knew almost all of them would be wrong. But I was like, if any of these are right, I'm gonna feel real cool.
You have to find that list.
Yeah,
the
in between
only
episodes, before tomorrow.
Okay, I'll see if I still have it. But the only one that I did have right was that Yoda would show up. But I also, with that, I thought that Obi-Wan would also show up because I thought my big thing was that Tarkin being in Rogue One was sort of like testing out so they could bring Alec Guinness Obi-Wan back. But so yeah, I was partially right.
From a certain point of view.
We don't know yet. Could still be Alec Guinness. He could still show up.
They're special editions, I saw the premiere. So before, I guess, like, I didn't see the premiere. I saw on social media, the premiere happened about a week or so before, and some people that we know went to the premiere, and I was looking at their social media stuff, and Frank Oz was there. I was like, oh, that's cool. There don't seem to be a lot of other people from the old movies there, besides the ones that are in the movie, but it's cool that Frank Oz. Wait a minute.
I like that like it was spoiled for you by the fact that Frank Oz went to the premiere. You use like your Sherlock Holmes skills to like put that together. I like that.
Wait a minute, he's left-handed.
What they should do is then purposely invite a bunch of red herring celebrities to attend. Yeah. Like they should have had Hayden Christensen also go to the premiere. And people be like, "What?"
Yeah. Well, was George Lucas there? I feel like he was there, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Or am I wrong?
And that was another one of my predictions. Baron Papanoida was going to play a part in this. And
oh my gosh.
Didn't. A little disappointed.
It'd be great if they got like meta with it and had like Baron Papanoida selling the something very valuable to the Resistance,
right.
Like the same way he got rid of Star Wars.
Right. Or the First Order, depending.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Either way. The same thing, man. It's part of the same. I remember because even in this shot, the camera is kind of panning around, and you see Yoda from the back first. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like if you're like paying attention, you're like, oh, that's Yoda. And that was, I think, the first time I always forget that he's in it too. So
you didn't think it was Evan Peel?
Evan Peel. Yeah, I love his ears kind of come in as silhouetted, and it's neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the shot too. Yeah.
And it's well done because you're focusing on what Luke is doing, and then you get a half a second of like down in front, but it's like, oh, it's Yoda.
Like one of those Warner Brothers cartoons where the silhouette is in front of the camera.
Or Gremlins 2.
When we get to then see him from the front, though, even though I love that they used the puppet again, there is something that looks weird about him, but also not always. Is anyone else getting this? I feel like certain shots he looks a little off, but then some shots he looks perfect.
Well, as a lot of people probably know, the puppet was recreated from the original mold that made the original Yoda. But I have heard, and I agree, that he looks weird, and from the start, and I was like, and I remember researching it, and I retraced my steps, and there's a guy on Twitter, Tom Spina Designs.
Oh, sure.
Who does like, you know who that is?
Yeah, Tom Spina Designs.
He does like special, props and, practical effects for movies and stuff. And his theory was that the original Yoda had a sort of plastic thing under his top lip that was underneath it, and it made his lip stick out more, whereas they didn't have that, or apparently forgot it existed. So this Yoda looks a little bit like he has no teeth. Like his upper lip is kind of like tucked into. He looks very like he's like a cartoon of an old man with no teeth.
Yeah, right? Now that you say it, it definitely is something about the mouth, and I don't think I was putting that together. Yeah.
So it's sad because other than that, like you said, there are times where it looks like fantastic and like exactly like old Yoda. So I wish they'd go back in there and kind of like a little McClunky it up a little bit and just kind of fix his do a Henry Cavill lip on him or something.
Put Henry Cavill's mustache on Yoda.
Well, oh man, I wish Yoda had a mustache. Trying it out, I am.
Loves it, Yaddle does. Do you think that this is a note that I had for like later in the week, but would you join? I think that this is the second best Yoda scene, Yoda appearance in general.
Just not visually necessarily, just overall.
Overall,
what's the first one?
Well, Empire.
Oh, so the whole, not a specific moment. You'd like
right.
Just, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Well, other than that, your choices are all CGI Yoda or
displaced
falling
puppet.
apart puppet Yoda in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, crumbling puppet, or like puppet so bad they had to replace it, or CGI.
Yeah.
It
would have been weird. It would have been weird because someone pointed out that part of the reason they did it was because Mark Hamill interacted with the real Yoda puppet. So it would be weird seeing Yoda with Luke with a CGI Yoda would seem weird.
Mm-hmm.
Because presumably as he aged, he got more puppet-like, which is why he
Luke or Yoda.
Well, both of them probably,
yeah.
but Yoda, because in the prequels he was all CGI and running around and jumping, but now he got Muppety. But what do you think if they had brought back the Phantom Menace Muppet?
Ooh. No, that's what I'm saying.
Even though the lighting and stuff, because part of the problem, Yoda looks best at night by firelight. That's like or during the daytime by blue like swamp light.
Yeah,
right.
Like him walking around in Coruscant under fluorescent bulbs they have on Coruscant. No one looks good with that. So
I think, there's also like a shininess that they did. Like I think Yoda needs a powder or something like that, because he's also got he's a little too glossy in most other iterations, whereas in Empire he's very
a glazed Yoda.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas I prefer the jelly Yoda.
That's almost more like a crepe Yoda, whereas for Return of the Jedi, it's more like a croissant Yoda. It's like he's crumbling.
It's just crumbling pieces of Yoda's. Pieces are coming off in Luke's hand as he goes out and he touches them. Master Yoda, you can't. Oh, sorry. Wait, here. That's your ear. Put it back. No? Okay, sorry.
You can't.
I'll just put it here on the pillow.
Yeah. Here's something interesting. Neil Scanlon, the gentleman who we saw on stage at Celebration. He was one of the puppeteers. He did special effects for Little Shop of Horrors, directed by Frank Oz. So they were happy to work together, and they wanted to make the puppet as comfortable for what Frank Oz was used to working with as possible. So
I bet.
So it's not just him doing the voice; he's got that famous arm shoved up inside Yoda. So
yeah, because then the what is it called? The director and the Jedi, or the behind the scenes making of. He says that when they first approached him, he just assumed he would just be doing the voice.
Yeah.
And was very surprised that they were actually going to bring the puppet back.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I think I like watching the making of Star Wars maybe as much as I like watching Star Wars. Maybe even more sometimes. Like, I can eat those making ofs, eat them up all
iterations?
Day long. Yes.
Every era?
Yes.
I find like the prequel ones can be a little antiseptic.
Oh, I still love those. Like that Phantom Menace one, especially. It's such an interesting thing to go back and see, because it was, I mean, as we all know, it was such a, it was the most anticipated movie ever.
Yeah.
And it was just, there was so much
It is a weird
pressure
time capsule.
It's a really fun, interesting watch. Yeah.
Did you always watch? Because I remember a lot of people saw was from Star Wars to Jedi.
Yeah,
that was the one that everyone.
I had that VHS
and all that.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had that, and then there was even, I don't know what this one was actually called, but it's probably still at my parents' house somewhere. It literally a VHS that I just recorded off of TV, and it was a making of Return of the Jedi. It wasn't called that, but I just remember Billy D. Williams was like the host.
Wow.
And yeah, I think I've found bits and pieces of it online. I should look up again what that's called, because it's also super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
trying to do some background searching
for that special.
Yeah, I started to type Return of the Jedi making of Billy D. Williams, and it's like Return of the Jedi making of Billy Joel, and I'm like, well, I kind of want to click on that.
But yeah, it just aired on regular TV. I want to say CBS, but I'm not positive that's...
Was it in like conjunction with it airing with like...
No, I think this is like when it came out. Like it was in the theater at the time.
Classic Creatures, Return of the Jedi?
That sounds right, actually.
Television documentary, first broadcast on CBS in 1983. Look behind the scenes of the creation of the various alien creatures from the third Star Wars film, presented by Star Wars actors Carrie Fisher and Billy D. Williams.
Nice.
Directed by Robert Gunet, who had directed Gunet's television specials, Making of Star Wars and SPFX, The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah. Good stuff. Look it up if you haven't seen it.
Well, one thing we still have to discuss is the debut of a very how should we say complicated. It's we see a Force ghost use lightning. Both of which are are unprecedented. So your thoughts, gentlemen?
Yeah, not lightning from the hand.
No,
I mean, he points and makes it happen. Yes, exactly.
We assume that that's just not a coincidence. He's like, look out for the lightning! He's pointing up to warn Luke.
Could it be that he... Well, yeah, the fact that it strikes the tree. I was trying to come up with like, well, what if he's just using the Force to kind of look a little bit into the future? And as soon as he knows, then he's like, oh. It's like when I was a kid and I used to get fooled by whoever, an adult driving the car who could see the red light on the other side the green light turning to yellow, so they knew when the red light was going to change, and they could fool me into being like, ready? Something like that, and make the green light change. So Yoda's doing the same thing. It's like, oh, wait, Skywalker, wait, pull my finger,
Or he was signaling the Star Destroyer that's in orbit to fire the lightning cannon down and destroy the Jedi tree.
He's got
all sorts of ways you can get around it.
Palpatine was up in that Star Destroyer, and he just sticks his hand out the window.
It was I who burned down the Jedi tree.
Oh, that could be a whole nother thing. What if it's not Yoda at all, but it's Palpatine creating an image of Yoda?
Well, I'm not surprised. They should have had that old tanks full of disembodied ghost Yodas floating in the jars.
I made Yoda.
Or they cut to like the other side and you see the Emperor with his hand up actually operating the puppet. Oh man. I would have liked Rise of Skywalker better if they did have flashback scenes showing all these different moments from Star Wars where it turned out Palpatine was actually manipulating events like behind the scenes.
Oh wow. All right. Like
when they walk into the bar and Palpatine goes to the bartender, look, they have a droid. And then he's like, hey, get out of there, like
yeah, just like moments that don't really matter.
Yeah.
Like
I do like the like somebody else, like another pilot with a fast ship is just like, oh, I can take they're like clunked on the head.
Yeah, Palpatine hired every other pilot in the cantina. That's why Boshek's like, oh, I just got hired, but to talk to this guy.
Yeah, somehow like Han and Chewie were in the bathroom or something, and he hired everybody, and he was like, okay, that takes care of everybody. Like, and he hears a flush, and they come out, and he's like, Chewbacca, he is co-pilot, and it's like, oh.
Well, he knew that Han Solo was the father of Kylo, was going to be the father of Kylo Ren, so he had to manipulate it.
Branching off, I do like the idea of him constantly trying to stop everything, and then it gets stymied, and then he's like, every time it was like, yes, all according to my plan. It's like he tries to take care of everything, and it keeps folding.
Which is kind of what Phantom Menace is. Phantom Menace is exactly that. It's like he has a plan, and then they foil it, but it still works out in his favor. So
just as I meant to do that.
the Palpatine story.
I do like the. I don't like Force creep, but this seems natural. It seems like, of all people, like Yoda, who was, as we all know, is second most powerful Jedi ever to exist. And in a essentially a Force cave, so an area where there's a lot of Force concentration, and a natural thing like lightning. It's enough that I find it credible.
You'll allow it.
Yeah. Ooh, did we just stumble into the Weird Al cover? He does Force lightning instead of grease lightning.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I think we did it.
Getting closer.
We talked about Grease last week, so it's funny that it's an ongoing theme. Grease keeps coming up.
Yeah,
I think I literally heard that today.
Something that we didn't say it on the air, but then later on Twitter we were talking about Grease and Star Wars, and I made myself laugh by saying, "Look at me, I'm 2-1B." But the I'm okay with the lightning, and I find their conversation to be interesting. There's a lot of little back and forth with their conversation, because the way that Luke says, Master Yoda, like in this like it's almost like the way he's like Obi-Wan, like when Obi-Wan shows up after like after Yoda dies, and he's like Luke, let me tell you why I lied. He's like Obi-Wan, and it's the same kind of thing. He's like about to do it, and he's like Master Yoda. It's like,
so
great.
Every time Yoda shows up, it has to be bad news. Like he has to know, like anytime a Force Ghost shows up, it's going to be like,
right.
Oh, now
well, it's like his boss showed up, right?
Yeah.
It's like he was off on this, independent freelance gig for a long time doing stuff, and then like finally the corporate showed up, and he's like, Master Yoda. But then I do love also that in return Yoda calls him young Skywalker.
Yeah.
Because, Luke, who is now, decidedly not young.
Yeah. That's the advantage to being Yoda. You can call everyone kid.
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah.
How do you guys feel about his little like giggle and the feet stomping moment?
I had that for tomorrow, but
that's tomorrow. I got ahead of myself. I'm so sorry.
Just the lightning comes down at the very end of this minute.
So yeah.
Okay.
And,
all right.
I am teaser. So, guys, forgive me. I'm so sorry.
Hey, forgive me. Forgive me.
Forgive me. Could Steve Martin work in a Star Wars movie, or is he too ironic?
See, I was quoting the Fisher King. I was quoting Jeff Bridges doing the different iterations of the take on, it's based on the Steve Martin thing.
Take on me.
The Carrie Fisher King.
There you go. Oh, look at Weird Al over here. But Steve Martin has experience working with Frank Oz, so absolutely, I think.
True. Little Shop of Horrors again.
Yeah, and the Muppet movie and
right.
Totally. So I think yes. I think Steve Martin. What would he be? Would he be like a Jedi Master kind of a thing? He would have to be, right? Or because if it's like, I instantly go to like a like a Harvey Korman kind of situation where he's it's like a holiday special thing, but could be like
I could see it working if he was like a politician and he was like threatening. Like I think if he's anything other than just a total jerk in it, like or someone who appears to be charming but then can like turn on that sort of like, listen, I'm gonna destroy. Like I feel like, yeah.
So you're throwing him into
almost like how they portray Holdo in the first half of it, like a total martinet and totally like condescending to everyone and that kind of a thing.
What about Steve Martin as DJ?
No,
I don't know. I feel like I love Steve Martin, but I don't know. I just in general, I feel like it'd be way too distracting because there's no way around. Hey, that's Steve Martin,
right?
What if they leaned into it and had him play like a space comedian who had like a lightsaber going through his head, like a fake arrow?
Hey, gang, it's Meave Starton.
Yeah, there you go. Well, pardon me.
Let's get Maul.
A wild and crazy Jedi.
Your turn, Alex. Yeah, I don't want that. The only thing I think replacing one of the existing kind of celebrity cameo things, like Steve Martin. That's why I said Steve Martin as DJ. somebody else that I already see, and I know, that's that guy from out of Star Wars.
Yeah.
In this,
what about the
like,
code breaker? I could see him as the code breaker.
There you go.
With no line, like literally keep everything as is, and he doesn't even get a line.
Just that one, like, not now, Lovey, I'm on a roll. Like that.
Oh, right, I forgot he does have a line.
And plus, he does card. Steve Martin does card tricks and stuff, so he can do that. Get some physical comedy when he throws the dice.
Right.
Like he does
but then that made me think of like
flying off.
Chevy Chase as the master code breaker.
Pete, earlier did you say excuse Shmee? Or did you I wasn't sure if that's what you said or not.
All right, well.
King Hut? I don't know. Young
man.
Skywalker. I said that already. I think that's it. We'll talk about Yoda's little chuckle and stuff tomorrow. The result of the fire tomorrow. Tony, can you come back tomorrow?
I think I could do that.
All right. Alex, can you come back tomorrow?
Come back tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. Well, let's listeners and viewers. We've been doing the show on YouTube this season as well as a regular podcast. If you go to StarWarsMinute.com/YouTube, and one of the YouTube viewers commented like, "Hey, you always mention that the show is available on YouTube, but you should probably mention that the show is also available as a podcast for the people who are strictly watching on YouTube." And I was like, "Oh, that's not a bad idea." So, if you're watching this on YouTube, I should just hold up a sign that has it. But if you're watching this on YouTube and you didn't know that we're also a podcast, you could just take it with you, put it in your ears. You don't have to be watching. You can listen while you're driving. Most of the episodes of Bizarre Albums that I've listened to have been in the car. It's a good driving podcast, I got to say. I've managed. It's a podcast that my in-laws like to listen to when I play. They've been like, "Oh, that's interesting." They really enjoyed it. So
that's very nice.
That's bizarre.
You could tell them I said hi.
Yeah. Don't just give out the highs like
I mean, you guys are good friends now. I'll give you guys some highs to pass on.
Well,
all right.
But listeners, don't get crazy.
But so if you're watching this on YouTube and you want to listen, you can go anywhere that podcasts are available. You can go to StarWarsMinute.com and find the links to the feed and stuff, I think, there. And other than that, we will see or hear you back here tomorrow for a brand new Star Wars Minute.
Star Wars Minute. Roxanakin.